Hi, it's September 1st and it's another garden video, garden tour. So we're gonna start in the overgrown, mostly tomato patch. You can see there's tomatillas and beans, but most of it's tomato. And then over here, same thing. It was supposed to be berries, but there's quite a bit of tomatoes that have grown. So these are spoon tomatoes, and these are super teeny tiny, but they're really fun and cute. And this is just one plant. And it looks like I have a very overgrown hardneck garlic, because this is kind of dried up here. But usually it'll curve and curl, and then you know that the garlic's ready to harvest. So that's the last one that I have. So this again is one tomato plant here with cherries, and you can see it goes all the way to here, and then there's aroma. And this is still the one spoon tomato. My chive has flowered. It looks beautiful. And then look at all the pretty purple cherry tomatoes. So these are not ready yet. They look like this when they're ready. They get orangey. And then let's go over here. So look at this purple, the little purple ones, all the same plant. My marigolds look fantastic. Those I planted super late in the season. And then I got some lima beans growing here. Not many. One has already dried up. And then this is the volunteer cherry tomato. Super overgrown, but again, starting work, teaching, no energy to do it, and then it just got too much. So at this point, the cucumber I'm just growing for seeds, because this is supposed to be a pickling cucumber, and they just got too crazy. My jalapenos, I've picked a few, but I'm kind of just waiting for these to turn. They're supposed to be colored ones. So that one's just red. This is another tomato. It's the Black Beauty. And then I think Bumblebee Sunrise, and there's some bell pepper down here too, which is the purple bell. But look how pretty these sunrise bumblebees are. Very pretty. And I still have not found that hornworm. There's another bell and one back there. And then the Japanese winged beans are super fun. Look at that. They've been going in my quiches. I've been making quiches and freezing them for guests, and they've been really good. Some spicy peppers. Look how pretty those are. Here's the Black Beauty. They're not ready yet. I picked a bunch though. My tarragon is totally taken over. And again, more cucumbers just for seeds, because these are pickling cucumbers and they are huge. Calendula, that's that. I think next year I'll do something with it. This year I just don't have the time or energy. And my poor trellis has completely overgrown, and besides just trailing everywhere now, you can't even walk in there anymore. It's also lopsided the other way. Originally it was lopsided to the left, now it's lopsided to the right. So definitely gonna have to fix that. My squash mixed with flower beds. See, look at that trellis. It's now just a giant lump. Some of my tomato plants have just become covered in these little aphidy things. So gross. So I can't wait to rip that out. But because I just have an infestation of these aphids, I'm gonna let you can see also in here in the chard. Look at that, so gross, so bad. I'm just gonna have nothing grown over winter, and hopefully nothing will happen and it will just be gone. Here's the other flower bed mixed with zucchini, squash. The plumeria is doing really good. Looks fantastic. And these leaves for the serrano peppers are just like kind of fuzzy. It's really tall. But I have a cover that's going to go over this for winter, so it's kind of cool because peppers are actually perennial. So I'll get a starter plant a lot earlier. This side, the plumeria is not doing as well. But I have another pepper. This one, I think, want to say it's cherry, a red cherry hot pepper. So those are definitely not ripe yet, whereas the serrano are green, so I could pick those. Watermelon, I'm not sure if they're going to be any good because I do not have good luck with watermelon. They're kind of soft, but we'll try them and see. So most of my squash, winter squash, has gotten blight. Not blight, powdery mildew. So I've been ripping it out. So you can see a lot of empty spaces. I got most of my melons already harvested, so this area is ripped out as well. I ripped out all of the summer squash that was over here because this dirt is not great, so it didn't really produce much, and it was not worth it. So the tomato plant I left just because it's at least is getting some cherries. And then over here, the winter squash, I pulled out most of it. I got like 20 something spaghetti squashes. I left some spaghetti squash and some acorn squash that had not ripened yet, but I'll pick those soon. I think that's in Illinois. And then I want to say like a Cinderella pumpkin or something like that. Another acorn squash, spaghetti squash. Persimmons, I have 2 ripening. They look pretty. They're so pretty. They have a nice little yellow to them now. Oh, and the big moon pumpkin. So one thing I'm never going to do again is tomatoes in buckets. Does not get enough water or nutrients or something because they just don't produce enough. And I had 2 of them that I had taken from a bucket because they kept getting blossom end rot, which is with inadequate watering, and I planted it, and this is one of them. So look at how many tomatoes there are now, like over a dozen at least, and that is would not have happened from being in one of these buckets. So it's not big enough. The inadequate watering or uneven watering is not very helpful towards production, and even with fertilizer, they're not great. So I've been using whatever does come from these pots. I've been using them in sauces because they're not good. They have a weird texture. They're not great to eat. So garden is just coming to the end of the season, and I'm not planning on planting a winter garden this year. I say that now, but you never know. I am going to plant garlic and onion, but those pests don't bother those, so they should be fine. So anyway, that's about it in the garden tour. Not much for September. See you next month.